All right. Oop. Oh no. I forgot. One moment. There. I exist. Okay. Let's see. Ooh. I need to get the little guys. Stream avatars. I forgot to launch those. Cool. Everything. Yeah, everything worked without a hitch. There. Okay. So part of what I need to do is first set up a bunch of enumerators. So enums, they're basically from from perspective of someone who doesn't like, if you don't know programming, an enumerator is, I guess it'd be easier to show you. So you basically have a list of, it could be really any text. You basically get to choose what it is, and it's effectively assigned on the back end to like a byte, which is just like a single digit, and then you can match enums up. Usually the idea is, from like Unreal's standpoint, is you get it to match, say, specific values. Like I use them a lot for the different movement types. Defining, it's really just a way to assign like text to a value where the text itself doesn't technically matter. Like you could have 2 bytes or 2 enums that say the same thing, but if they're not part of the same record, they won't actually equal one another. It's probably not the best way to explain it. Like I said, I'm not a programming expert, but they're basically, it's just a way to hold values more than anything else. And so like this one I'm setting up because an axis type enum. I did this before we started stream. And what that is going to be for is here. On input here are movements for like forward, backward, left, right, and looking around, like your joystick movements. Those are axes because they operate on like a degree. They operate on a scale of -1 to 1, basically. And so since the movement of a joystick is an axis, rather than just being a button, which is on or off, it has a degree of movement that makes it an axis. But we need to define that in our, specifically what I'm working on is like our options menu, because I need to work, in order to do some more of the level development and work on some of the features, I need the inventory, because I need the save system. So there's a couple things that need to happen kind of all in sequence. And there are certain features we have to have before we're going to do other things. So one of the things that's going to be part of that is what inputs do you use, and the part of the reason I could technically get away without doing this part right now, but one of the things I need to set up is so that depending on what key you have mapped your control to, it shows the correct graphic. One of the things, and this is actually something from a kit that I love, is when I want to use graphics for inputs. There's this one for controller disconnected, but I've also got all of these in here for different keys on a keyboard, your basic mouse buttons. I also have ones for different controllers, like Steam Deck, PlayStation. So the reason these are great, and actually if you decide that you want to know where I got these, this will almost be a documentation for me because I always forget. In fact, when I went to go find these, I had to dig up an old download I had of like the older versions, because I, for the life of me, couldn't remember where I got them, and a Google search brings up plenty of results. Like, you can get other results for these. In fact, I'll show you another good one, but one that's they're good, but the way they're drawn, they're almost too like friendly for the type of game that we're doing. So the one I'm actually using, I have no idea how to say this username. I'm assuming it's Zelu. Zelu. And it's Zelu UI, Zelu controller inputs. Yeah, from these guys. So this is one I use because, so I guess their name is Nikolai. But they have a public domain for these inputs, and so you can use these for free and commercial products. So I love these input graphics. They're great, and they're fairly like standard. They don't have like a real theme to them, which is what, when you search for those kinds of graphics, that's what a lot of them will have. They'll be kind of themed in some way. But another one is from Kenny, which is a great resource for placeholder, especially for placeholder UI. There's this one, and I love this one. In fact, it's got some stuff that I kind of wish the other kit had, like these flares and overlays. But they're almost, like if you look at how rounded and kind of almost bubble-like they are, they would be really at home in probably a happier game, or, you know, it's like a game with a different atmosphere to it. But it's got basically all of the same stuff. So I love this kit, and it's kind of the same deal. It's a Creative Commons, you know, you don't You don't need. It's free to use for personal, commercial products. You don't specifically need. It's like a, and they do this for all kinds of stuff actually. This is one of many things that I often cite if people are looking for resources. Like if you don't have the ability to make your own art for whatever it is you want to make, this is a great one. In fact, I mean, technically speaking, they have other input kits. Like this is for on-screen controls for like mobile. And they have asset packs for all kinds of stuff. So like if you wanted to get into stuff, maybe you're more of a programmer, you don't know how to create art, this is like a great option. They even have sounds, and maybe you don't want to use these in like a shipped product because you don't want it to look like something else, like because obviously two games that both use these assets are going to look similar, but you could use these as like your placeholders until you get to a point like to prove your concept. So yeah, they have a lot of stuff in here. So I do love that they have a controls. They have game icons and stuff for that, for inputs. But it wasn't good for I didn't feel like it was good for this. It was also missing a few of the ones that I wanted. So rather than like mix and match, I just went back. I just hunted down the one that I like to use usually. So we need to also set up let's set up a blueprint, another enum. Let's do this one for our options. And we're going to set this at graphics. Technically, display and graphics are the same thing to a lot of people, but I'm going to treat them a little bit differently. Audio. Do gameplay. Controls. And accessibility. That's probably going to be good categories for now. Oh, damn it. I need to turn off the source control. I could have swore that I had done that. So I do use source control, as you should. But especially when you're working, I'm going to check this in first, so it doesn't cause me problems in the future. And then turn it off. Especially when you're working solo. Doing it in engine, because you can do it through an engine connection, like within Unreal. And maybe they've made this better in 5, but it's awful in 4. Added enums for options menus. Yeah, if somehow someone at Epic ever sees this, I'm sure someone has to have told you, but the in-engine source control is a nightmare. Like, I get it has to use a check-in, check-out system, which I'll rant after the ad break. All right, about 30. Okay, no, it's gone. It's gone. Come on. You gonna go? Ad break's over. Can you go away? Shoo, element. Can you go away? My thingy didn't work. I'll do it manually. There we go. It still thinks that we're having an ad break for some reason. So that may be problematic later. Yeah, so my rant. So the in-engine source control is terrible. So normally, at least in 4, maybe it's better in 5, I kind of doubt it. So you have, in this case, I'm using Git, and you have you have to use like a check-in, check-out. I mean, technically, the locking feature can be turned off, which would make it better. I'm trying to remember. I think I've done it without it on before, and it's been fine. The problem is that's not great if you're working with other people on a project. I'm solo, I could probably get away with it. But when you work with other people, the problem is that pretty much everything that's not like if it's not a C++ file and it's not in like your source code, even if it's a blueprint, which is technically code, it's stored in a UAsset file. And they're all they're not really binaries, but they kind of are. Because, like, I think technically speaking, you can, like, edit one in a text file, and it is technically, like, a script of some kind. But version control systems don't seem to be able to merge UAsset files. At least last time I tried it didn't work at all. So you have to, anything that one person is working on when you're working on a group has to be locked so that other people can't edit it. And that obviously poses some issues, but honestly, that wouldn't be such a problem if the whole process of the in-engine source control system, checking those in and out, wasn't a nightmare. And then, like, well, it's not going to show it now because I've turned it off, but like sometimes you have the options down here, especially when you have actively modified an item to check it in or out. But otherwise, like, or if it's a new item to add it to source control, but otherwise it just shows you like a refresh option. And it's like, why can't I check out everything I want to work on ahead of actually making the changes, rather than start making changes, go to do something, and all of a sudden you go, oh, you have to check out these files, and I'm going to sit here and take a million years to do it. So since I'm working on my own, what I tend to do is just use the source control externally. Like, I'll do all my changes for whatever work I'm doing, and then I'll commit it all manually. And that's fine. That method would work for anyone probably, especially if they're solo. The only thing that made me really turn the locks back on, because I already knew it was terrible. I remembered it was terrible from the very first time I tried it, and I had always kind of avoided it since then. But the only thing that made me turn it back on for this was I've started doing a lot of stuff on my laptop, and I was like, oh, what if I need to move files back and forth? And the last time I did something, I didn't get around to committing it for whatever reason, and I forgot. And then I go make changes to those files, and I end up with a conflict because you can't, it's not like a C++ file, you can't just rebase it. So, and maybe that's improved for 5. I kind of doubt it. And honestly, even that's not enough of a reason for me to just up and move to 5 at this point. So I got my E options. But that's my rant. That's my soapbox. If someone Epic ever sees this, yeah, your in-engine source control is terrible. It's bad, and you should feel bad. Okay. Let's do... I'm actually going to put these in a folder. Okay, the audio channels normally would be what, like master, music, sound effects, voices, maybe just speech. I don't remember, how is it usually labeled? Voices? We'll do voices for now. Music, sound effects, voices. Yeah, master volume, that should be fine. Just gonna categorize these like visual graphics, because I can do audio volume, and then I'll try to do audio like settings for things like subtitles are usually under audio, but they're technically like an accessibility thing. I'll do textures. Shadows. I think VSync is with a capital S. I'm trying to think of the most common ones. I'm gonna put brightness and gamma under display. Yeah, motion blur. I started to say that, wouldn't that be more of a I don't know why I'm putting the, because these don't need to not have spaces in them. They can have spaces in them. Let's see. That'll probably be fine for now. This will be where we put resolution. Brightness, contrast, gamma, there's another one I'm thinking of, and I can't think of it. Display mode is what you would call it for like window. This would be full screen. Windowed. Borderless. Windowed. For our mouse, we need probably sensitivity. And oh, what's the other one? Invert mouse. It's gonna be E controls. No. Gameplay difficulty. we're just gonna, for now, do easy. Medium. And hard. We difficulty language, which is probably going to stay almost entirely, like, unless I Google translate it or get to where I can hire translators. Most of the dialogue and stuff is probably going to have to stay English only, but I'm going to try to Google, like, at least do a Google Translate on some of the UI, or get some translators for some of the UI. I worry about doing direct translations myself on, like, I don't want to rely on a Google Translate for, like, the story, because certain contexts would be lost. But I can't be sure that I'll be able to support much in the way of languages. Where was it? This should probably become controls axis type and be added to settings. Right. Rest of this should be fine. And actually, another good reason to use enums is that, is it here? Yeah. So there's probably other ways you could do this, but with enums, the values here can technically be localized text. So you can use that to kind of quickly translate them if you get to that point. Okay, we need to set up some structs. We'll also put these in a settings folder, specifically because there's one in particular that I know I'm going to need. Maybe not right away, but like pretty close, because I need to set up, there's a number of keys that aren't going to like translate properly, or key, not necessarily keys, but inputs from, like, if I just took the name of the key, a user's not going to understand what that means technically. So we're going to translate some of that, and we'll do that with a combination of a structure, which is a struct, and actually, probably don't need that to be plural. Oh, that's right. Structs are F. Yes, yes, I know. You don't like it. I will change it. There. So they need this to be the default name, and then what we're renaming it to. And I think by default that's going to be a string, and we need it to be a text because we're renaming it for like display purposes. We could do it as a string, because then we might, and I may ultimately change it because then I might have some more use for it. But for now, I set that up so that we can do a data table, and because our data table is going to hold, where the hell are they? Is that not a blueprint? Must be a miscellaneous. Yeah, data table, key. Oh God. Oh, there's more than one. What? Why is there more than one? It's the same one. Why are you in here twice? What was key prompt? Where are you from? Oh, it's from a plugin. It's fine, we don't care. So this is going to be our key names. It might be better to just call this input key names so that I can find it. And then add one. So the ones in particular I'm thinking of are things like these: gamepad left thumbstick button, gamepad left shoulder, like gamepad face button. People don't know what those are, generally speaking, so those in particular need to be changed. Row name. don't think the actual row name matters in this case. Gamepad. Left. Thumbstick. Up. We're going to call this might even just let's just do all the lefts first. Left stick, right. Not right stuck up, right stick up. Boy, do I wish there was a faster way to do this. Now, you might be noticing that I typed these as left-right when technically we have axes. And that is because we also have these. So the axis is more about being able to get like the input, whereas this treats it almost like it's a D-pad. Excuse me. So in truth, in the long run, probably I'm gonna have to do like translations for those as well. But in fact, I may go ahead and put those in here. I wonder if can I just... Okay. Let's see, just a handful of other ones that we definitely need would be the gamepad, face, button, top. This is tricky because technically this is one that would vary based on the controller layout. So like on an Xbox layout, this is technically an 8-bit controller, but it's the same layout. Then you have your Y, X, A, and B. But PlayStation, that would be your triangle, your square, your cross, and your circle, respectively. That is a cross, for those who don't know, by the way. It's officially what they call it. I know growing up, I think everyone called it an X button, but they officially call it a cross, and they get very angry at you when you call it the wrong thing. But then on top of that, you grab, like, say, a Switch controller, which I do want to support the Switch on the off chance I can port to the Switch. Well, then suddenly you have your X at the top, and your A and so your X and Y are switched, and your A and B are switched. It's a whole thing. So I can't reliably put those in here. That's another reason for the mapping difference. So this is probably still going to have to be like a more of a shortened name, and then the rebind system I have will have to mask that probably, or alter it on the fly. Oh no. Okay. I think here's where we got another naming convention difference, because yeah. So across the controllers, I don't think these have them labeled in any way. They do. They're just teeny tiny. It's still the same. Okay, this one still follows that, so I'll continue using the 8-bit dough because the print's bigger. So, you know, you stick to your standard Xbox style layout. We have RB and LB, and then RT and LT. We're going to ignore these extra controllers for now because these extra inputs are all mappable and don't really matter so much. So those are the same, or those are that way. But then on your PlayStation layout, they are R1 and L1 and R2 and L2. So that's a whole thing. And then Nintendo goes and does R and L, and then ZR and ZL. And that's, I think, because on their older controllers, they've always had Z buttons down at the bottom. So that's a whole thing. Okay, we've got an ad break. Excuse me. Okay, we're back from ads. Okay, it went away on its own this time, so I don't know what that problem was last time. So, yeah, so the controls are all different. Again, I'll be able to show the correct ones, I think, in the long run. Oh, hang on, my screen is coloring itself for the evening. But I think I actually, during the ad break, I was thinking about this rename system, the top, bottom, left, space button stuff. This is for ease of mind on stuff. There's a part of me that had a different naming scheme in mind, but if I ever showed this to the player, I don't know that they would understand it, I guess. I hate to, like, I want to cite the correct video, but I don't really want to, like, direct traffic to it because of who controls the IP on it now is not the original creator. Is it... Give me a moment. Is it this one? I'm finding it now. Yeah, so here's, okay, the face buttons. Okay, so the actual video, and I hate to give credit or to give views to the I want to give credit, but I don't want to give views to the IP holder because it's no longer the original creator. So there's a video called Control Freak. It's part of Yahtzee's Dev Diary. So Yahtzee's a game reviewer and a game developer, and he had a series on The Escapist, which kind of screwed everyone over, but still hold a lot of the IP. So he's off doing his own independent thing now, but they still own this IP, so he had to kind of give up his show. He has a different show now. So, like, I don't really want to direct traffic at this video because I don't think he sees any of the residuals from it, at least not presently. But he talks about the face mapping buttons as being, what was it? What's the order? It's... Yeah, so he treats them like as what you do for them. So with your A, in this case, being like attack, or like your most forward and prominent movement. X is retreat. Something you would like. I wish I could just play it. Um, I guess I could let the subtitles go. It's like how you, it's based on how you move the hand. So that's one of the reasons I like this one. So that, yeah, advance. That was what it was. I kept saying attack, but you're saying, yes, I want to proceed. Yeah, your retreat's your B. Your thought button is what he calls the Y. And the X is the attack. And then the Y is your thought, because you have to reach the furthest for it. So it should be the thing that requires most thought. That said, and it's probably one of the reasons why I don't trend towards PlayStation very much. And that is because their button layout for a lot of their games, while the actual positioning of the buttons technically shouldn't matter, they often bind, and it may actually just be more of a Japanese developer thing. They often have like the accept button be circle on PlayStation games, is what I've seen. And that for me, and again, maybe because I started off on that's not even true. It's not even true. I actually started off on PS1 and like Nintendo, so, but it seems like most of my gaming experience, for the bulk of my later life at least, has always been that this lower button is your accept. And that may be a difference between Japanese developers and Western developers, because that may be something that I may not have experienced until I got older. I probably wouldn't have played a lot of Japanese developed games as a child, just because they were less common. Well, not less common. It was just not something we saw a lot of, at least in my household. So I'm actually going to name these like this because these aren't going to be seen by the player, and it makes the player won't see those, so I think that'll be fine. And then I think we'll do left thumbstick down. Oh, button. Yeah. It's right there. And then for that, we'll go ahead and stick with the L3, R3, L1, L2 stuff for this, because again, we can rename these. And that's usually going to be your select button. And that's usually going to be your start button. Left shoulder. Right, that's what we call it. I gotta be honest, I probably didn't. Oh no, there it is. Yeah, left shoulder. That's gonna be the L1. And then L2. Duplicate these. All right. And then we have some other inputs to handle, which is going to be things like spacebar. Most people are just going to call it a space. Call it space. That's fine. Right mouse button. Right click. Just do mouse right, actually. And this is going to be then I think okay, it takes account thumb mouse button and the mouse button too, and then there's also the mouse wheel and the scroll axis. So we'll do mouse button, mouse on. May have to come up with something better to call those, but it makes it easier for now. Probably should do stuff about the wheel. but I think that's gonna be fine. Okay. Some of the other structures that we're going to need are going to have to do with various settings. Do this as action key setting. Just call this action key. So this will be for not something that's on an axis, but something that's on a like a button, a single input. So we need to be show. That's gonna be whether or not we want to show the action. Be enabled. That'll allow us to disable stuff as needed. And key. And this is gonna be where we set up action key mapping. This one. Input action key mapping. And so that'll let us actually control the mapping of the buttons. And we'll default both of these to on. And then we've got to do the same thing for our axis, which will be like our sticks. Technically, the triggers can also be an axis. Generally, you probably wouldn't consider them an axis. But if you wanted to do like a pressure controlled setting, like based on how far the trigger was pulled, because I think there are some shooters where like the harder you pull. Something varies in how you shoot. Or like an accelerator. That'd be a better example. Like an accelerator on a car, if you wanted it to be harder pressed in, like the harder you press, the faster the car accelerates. You would do that with the axis value of the trigger, but you can just treat the trigger as an on-off button, as a binary input. So we do the same thing here. Oh, I do B show. And if you're wondering why I put a lowercase b in front of these, it's not common for a specific language. And actually, I don't even know that Epic does it anymore. But that used to be sort of procedure for all of their booleans would start with a lowercase b. I know that there's still some element of that in their stuff, because it when you do it for variable names, it will, and you pull them out into Blueprint, it doesn't actually show the b. It like knows to hide it, and you just get the casing, like however you typed it, you just get that as the name of something. I'm not sure why they did it. It was to make it easy to tell what was a Boolean. I just know it's been that way for a long time. When I was learning on Unreal Engine 3 way back in the day, it was a thing back then, if I recall. And it was like that in the early days of Unreal 4. And the engine still is designed to accept that. I mean, you don't have to do it, but it's clearly designed with it in mind. So I tend to just do it out of habit, and most of my Booleans have that little lowercase b on them. To a point, it has actively seeped into other things I create. For no good reason. And then we probably, because some of the things we're going to be doing will actually have to run like terminal commands on the back end for the game. So we probably need to do a thing for commands. We'll make these strings, and it may often have to run more than one, so we'll make it an array. There's definitely more of these that we probably need. For now, I think we may actually be almost fine. I'm going to do one for controls real quick. Just to store, because like we got those actions for axes, or those structs for the actions and the axes, but we need one for the actual controls that is actually going to store access controls F access. probably need these to be arrays because we need more than one of each of those. So those will actually be arrays. And then some things will require sensitivity. So, and that'll probably be stored as a float, but it doesn't need to be an array. And then and whether or not to invert controls. Okay. I think we've got a number of the things we need to get started. Nope, that wasn't what I wanted. We need to set up a UI widget for our controls. So I'm going to start with the action one probably. We don't need hints. We'll do this as we'll do this here. And then this is going to be a W for widget. And then that's going to be our input action. And I'm going to start with the action one, but we'll go ahead and make another one for W input axis. First thing is, we're going to set this to desired. Actually, we'll full screen for the moment. Do this. Size box. I want a size box. And let's set this guy to be around 700 by 60. That ought to be a good scale. I'm just thinking in terms of like a 1920 by 1080 screen. And instead of setting this to fill screen now, we'll set it desired. Yeah, that looks like that'll be sized pretty close to what we need. So that's the body that'll hold it. Another one of these. And we want to set it to basically take the scale of what's in it, but we're going to override its height. And then we need overlay. In our overlay, let's give it some padding. That's going to be the left padding. This should be right padding. Should be top padding. Oop, not 50. Yeah. Give it a little bit of padding. Something in my eye. Okay. And we don't have any images to do this with just yet. Let's do a horizontal layout. Horizontal box. Excuse me. Margins, but we want it to take the full size, and you'll see that my margins are help push it out here. I was actually wrong about that. It was left, top, right, and bottom. Yeah. When you do 04 like that. And then we need a text. We don't need it to be a text box. We don't want it to be editable. So in this case, we would probably just want all my plugins are adding in their own text blocks here. Typography styling could be useful. What's the actual difference there? Oh, so it creates it as its own blueprint. Interesting. However, it is storing the text, the context of it. No, it's not. It's right there. Never mind. What would this be considered? I see. Okay, that's interesting. don't need it for this. We're just gonna do a standard text block in that case. Just the most basic of text blocks. Center auto. We're gonna center it down. We'll just call it action name. It doesn't need to be bold. It can be regular. And honestly, whoa. Bit smaller too, where I'd be fine. I can always scale that if I need to. And this is going to be our the actual name of it, and we're going to fill that because this will be an element that we reuse for every input, and so we'll fill that based on every time we call it in, basically. Accessible defaults. Going to have to do something with that because the accessibility is not native to that. So okay. Take an ad break. Okay. Back from ads. I think that, let's see. Notes. Let's see. Movement to that entire first section because I think it's important. I just felt if anything wasn't needed, it's 20 seconds and 30 seconds. The only volume problem I think remains. I think the volume on me is fine now, but that logo sequence I sent to you, the, what would you call it, like a disintegration effect? That's not spelled right. Let's see, that's no fault of yours. But Sorry, I was dealing with something during the ad break. Okay. We need something to handle the buttons. Ah, crap. Again. Duplicate this guy. Yeah. This one will be for the primary input, which technically is probably going to translate to either controller or mouse and keyboard inputs. And then this one will be for the secondary. Which would be the other input. And what if we shouldn't do it like this? Oh, no. These guys need to be visible for the hit detection, because you got to be able to click on them. Oops. Oh, sorry, no, not these guys. It's gonna be the child objects of these that need it. I should probably add a margin there between them. Yeah. Now, what we need in here is going to be our input key, which needs to be one of these guys. And then hit that with that. Should probably allow gamepad keys to go in either of these so that people can do their own things. And then if nothing's specified, we'll set these to none. These are buttons. I think it's a little big, so we'll knock it down. Okay, now the only thing about it is I do want this to potentially just show an image instead of the actual key. So and like technically speaking, I think that can be done. I'm thinking though, because I want this to show a butt. Let's see. The common UI thing is a package I have. Is it this? Yeah. Let's see. guess this would be... What's the difference between the icon rim brush? Okay, it doesn't get drawn, so who knows? So we'll just do this a key. Oh. I think all the blank ones are set as black, or is it black key? Keyboard. Blank. Oh, those Zello icons have been included by several plugins. Yeah, this will be fine right here. Draw as box. No tile. Okay, if I draw it as a box, that actually ends up making, I was hoping to make it like scaled. I was hoping to force the perspective. That's... I guess doing it at the image's size is problematic, but maybe... How tall did we make this thing? Primary is... I mean, fuck if we actually know, but... If 32 is there, it's probably a 40 by 40. Could be a 50 by 50. No. Okay. We can say 40 by 40, and that seems to show. That wasn't what I meant to do. Okay, that's what that's for. It's for the rest of the button. Here's an interesting question. Why is there a border around my image? Because, like, that guy's not visible. It's definitely part of this guy. I'm actually going to set these to be there but not render, or not be visible. Knock their opacity down. And then I guess I'll just do yeah, why is that putting a white background behind these? Oh, you bastard. Where's the ones that I added? Interesting that I wonder if it does that in the actual render of it. That would be interesting. Why are there white backgrounds on those, though? It's very strange. Out of general curiosity, I'm going to copy that so that I can put it back. Does it do that Yeah, it's there no matter what you, like, even if it's not one I uploaded, even if it's one from a package. So, well, that's annoying. I may have to enforce those a different way, but... Okay, it's not a tent that's coloring it. So why is there a thing there? I don't want to open a source file. I'm gonna hope that that's just not gonna be visible in the long run, because otherwise that's gonna be really obnoxious. I guess we check the documentation for that plugin. Because if that's gonna be a thing, yeah, this is from the Common UI plugin. Epic, do you not have documentation on this guy? I don't want the 5.6. I need the 4.7. Oh, you bastard. Epic, you have ruined your documentation website ever since 5 came out. You've made it completely impossible to use. To the action widget. So let's look up Starby. Hello, Starby. Hello, Raiders. About to have an ad, but I'm going to snooze it. I don't think it would affect you guys since you just came in, but... Let's see. Let me guess. Is this Starby and Juno? Who's in the raiding party? Hi, Captain. So, how was your stream? Dead by Daylight, looks like? Were you guys playing the killers, or? Survivors? Normal widget looks like this. Kind of this. button style class and set the normal base appearance. Set the tint alpha to 0. Okay. Okay, that looks like newer documentation, but it probably is still accurate. Play killers, 2v8s only around for events. I haven't actually played Dead by Daylight myself. I don't own it. Alright, well that didn't do what I thought it would. So that's... Hello, Juno. I assumed you were in that raiding party. Or maybe it meant this thing. But I've got the thing set to draw as none. Because that's the button. Okay, you know what? I'm gonna hope that that's just an editor thing and that it won't show in engine, and proceed with it from there. I think that's because otherwise I'm gonna go insane. I have no idea why otherwise why that would be showing. Okay, so let's create some variables for this guy. Oh, Starby, I am in process on getting a trailer from your friend. We've gone through a couple of revisions already. What I have seen, their work is the good part. It's me I have a problem with, is the best way I can put it. I don't like hearing my own voice. So, I always got to change the logo volume thing. I already turned it down like after the last reply. The uploaded version. Alright. I'm going to look at this. And then maybe I'll show it to stream. Stream shouldn't hear it. You can also see, like, I recorded a little intro thing for it, and I can see every cat hair on my shirt because it wasn't like a fresh shirt that I had put on. The giant dino nuggets, yeah. She found those at Sam's Club. Okay. Yeah, that's not as... I had to have her make some volume changes. Not because of anything she did, but some of the stuff I supplied had weird volume in it. Yeah, so I will show this. That's fine. I don't imagine she'll mind. Let me kill the music. We're about to have an ad. That apparently I can't snooze now. But we'll go ahead and play this and it should be fine. Okay. Hey everyone, I'm Crimson, or Patrick. I'm a software developer, an indie game designer. I'm sorry, what? And a gamer. The fuck?
Wait. Evron. Looks like a different species.
You think? The passion for creating interactive experiences and helping others.
All the cat
dive
hair.
into
Just
game
all the
development
cat
and
hair.
just creative skills in general.
The vigilante, you can just.
Those are not on.
They're not on?
No.
No, we've got to
I like this shit.
If you're into gaming, game development, or just want to hang out, I usually stream every Tuesday and Thursday around 7 p.m. Eastern for my creative projects, and Fridays around 7 p.m. Eastern are dedicated to gaming. Everyone's welcome. So, I should probably wait until the ad's over because I'm pretty sure some people got cut off on that and they might want to see it. I suspect like Juno's in ads, and I can see they haven't said anything, but I can see Keys in chat, and Key might be an ad. No, Key's got a gifted sub right now, so Key shouldn't be in ad hell. Because I think Key still has a sub from the last time you sub bombed me. I only know that because I see their name in Discord and it's purple. See, it's the only reason I know that. All right, ads will end in like 2 seconds. All right, everybody should be back from ads that had ads. So, do we want me to run it again? Because I think it got interrupted by ads. You got a dip to take care of moving things. Absolutely, go do what you got to do. If someone in chat missed it because of the ads and wants me to run the thing again, say something now or forever hold your peace. Yay, nay. Going once. Going twice. Okay. We'll move on to other things. It'll be up on the channel probably within, I suspect, 24 hours, given that that was a rendition. I did probably just have to pop back over and say, yeah, I'm good. All right, so we need a pre-construct event, and we need some variables that are not already in here. For starters, we need a mapping name, which is going to be the name of the control map. This needs to be automatically set by the setting name. It's need to be editable by instances and exposed on spawn. And we'll put it under setting. auto. Oh, I should cue back up the music there. And variable, we need action name to be a text value. Name of this action setting. We'll group this under setting, but just the parent. It's not an auto set one. Oh, I know why that's happening. Yeah, there we go. That's why. Instance editable, expose on spawn. And then let me check something real quick. Yeah, okay. We also need for accessibility reasons, we need a description. So action description. I think I can make it accessible by screen reader, so I'm going to do that. This can't be a multi-line. I did not turn it off for that. Setting name. And this is actually going to be one of our enums, which is going to be E. Should be setting. No, wait. Like E control, I believe. Controls actions. Yeah, E control actions was what we called it. Setting. And that should currently hold hello. Doesn't want to show the defaults. Yeah, okay. That's all. It's just not showing it down there at the bottom for some reason. Maybe the UI is weird. Why was the scroll bar not showing? That's really strange. Alright, that's whatever. Oh, now it's there. That's what I was looking for. Alright, primary key is going to be our action key setting, which technically there's going to be two of, but this will be what takes the place of the button. So, new variable, primary keybind. Action. Oh, let's do it as a F action. Should be action key. Set that to setting. And expose on spawn. Yep. So that gives us our primary keybind. It's gonna be those guys. That was that struct we created earlier. We can go ahead and just duplicate this guy to create our secondary keybind. Because it's the exact same thing, but for the other bind. And then that should be good for the moment. So on our pre-construct, we want to set our mapping name, because that's going to be based on what's on the actual screen, and that's going to be brought in from setting name, or enum. We have to perform a conversion, which it'll automatically do by bringing it up here. It's going to do to a name. Automatically. And that's basically what this does. This takes this text value, the actual text value that's in there, and turns it into a name record. And a name is basically just a in the context of Unreal, is just a special type of text value generally. I don't actually know why they distinguish between like a name and a string. I know why you distinguish between text and a string, but without digging into documentation, I'm not actually sure why the name variable actually exists. None of our objects are in here, so we need to expose our elements in here. We're after this guy right now, is variable. I forgot to do that earlier. We'll have to come back in here and do that to some other things. But this is what we want right here, our text block input name. We want to set the text. We should be able to just do because those are separate things, so we should just be looking for a standard set text. I've got too many damn plugins. It should just be this guy. Nope. Kind of. Oh no, it's down here. This is what I was looking for. I didn't go far enough down. So boop. And our action name is this guy. The action name we need to set delay. Should be able to just be this guy. We don't need to be very long. This is basically for us to find out if we need to hide secondary inputs, if that's necessary at all. Because like on a PC you probably wouldn't, but if I'm looking forward to doing this as like a console build at all, which I would have to get the dev kits for, but you generally don't have secondary bindings for that because you only have so many buttons available to you. So in that case, we would just hide those elements, and we need to be able to do that kind of dynamically, rather than having to drastically change the build or use entirely different menus. We want to be able to do that kind of stuff dynamically. So I'm going to do this with some visibility settings. And the reason we're putting a timer here is because we still have to load in the rest of the menu. And we'll have to load in some other settings that we haven't created yet that'll determine a lot of that. So this will be a select. And then our primary key bind. Get. We do need to break this into its component parts. And then show will determine a true or false of whether or not this is hidden or visible. And then we're going to do the same thing. And actually, you know what? I did this on the wrong thing though. We don't want it on that. We want it on these guys. These needs to be variables. And to be honest, oh, that's already a variable. That's good. That's already a variable. I guess those have to be. Yeah. The size box. Because this way, if one of the size boxes, I'll do it in a second here. As an example. So like if one of these isn't visible, say the primary, well, do the secondary one. Say the secondary one. If it's not there, the other one automatically fills the space left by it. Now you won't notice that same behavior with this guy. In fact, weirdly enough, it doesn't seem to be getting controlled by that for some reason. Oh, it's because I changed this. That's actually not supposed to be a hit testable guy. But yeah, no, why is that like... The override's taken care. It's already loading the value from the blueprint. That's why I can't. That's why this doesn't matter. Because I'm already doing it on the size box. I can hide it here, but I'm already doing it on here. So that's why I was just dumb and didn't realize it. It's the same reason that the placeholder text for the actual action isn't visible right now. It's because we've already hidden it. Or this is already taking effect here. We need another one of these. Uh-oh. I think the engine might have crashed. Yep. Good old memory error. Good news is we'd recently saved, so I don't really lose any work other than what we literally just did, which is fine. Just have to wait on it to actually crash. There it goes. There it goes. So we gotta wait on it to reopen, which is going to take a minute. So we'll just switch over to the intermission screen while we wait. Okay, it's still loading. Okay. It should be done loading here in a second. He said optimistically. Oh god, it made noise. I don't like it. It's taking a lot longer than I thought it was going to. I thought it was almost done. This is the one downside to this. Well, I say the one. It's one of several downsides to this engine. Especially in an early unoptimized state, projects can take a long time to open. Oh, geez. That notification sound scared the hell out of me. Bella. Welcome in. Or thank you for the follow. I assume you're in the stream chat. Yes, okay. I also saw the follow notification on the thing, so that's why I was like, oh, did you just happen to click it, or are you actually in here watching? Yeah, we watched the trailer a little while ago. I don't believe Starby is actually like at chat because she had to go do some things, so she is AFK. But if she's within earshot, I liked the editing. I liked what you did of it. I don't like my part of it, but that's a me issue. I don't like the sound of my own voice. But that's a me problem that I just have to get over. Okay. Let me see. I don't have a let me see if I can show you. I don't have a good way to do this because I don't have that stuff on this computer. So I run a 2 PC setup. That means that the thing I was going to show, I don't actually have on this computer. But let me check my server. Okay, so you know the clip I sent you? I recorded it. So these are just the ones I put on the server. I recorded it probably about 2 or 3 times that. Because about half of them didn't have audio at all. And it took me far too long to figure out why. Because I don't usually use... in my OBS settings, I don't usually use a full camera. The closest thing I get is when we go face cam for like intermission, but there's still all the banner and everything, and I wasn't going to include any of that to give you like freedom of editing. And so I created a new OBS scene. Yes, with multiple takes in each video, yes. I went through it several times and was still bad at it every time. So I would go through the takes, and then see, you would think I could just listen to it, but because of how dumb I've done this multi-PC setup, because I have a Go XLR that all my like audio, because this is like an XLR mic, it's all fancy. Because I have a Go XLR, this stuff goes into that other PC, but I don't actually hear the audio out of that PC. The only thing I send over from that PC are the alerts, because that's done in OBS. So like I have just that coming back on an audio channel over the network, actually. So technically speaking, it's not even coming through the regular audio stuff. I use a program called Voice Meter to do that. So I don't hear, I can't listen to anything that I record over there. So then I had to put it on like my server to bring it over to this computer where I could watch it, find out there was no audio on it, then go back over, do the stuff. It's a first world problem that I've created for myself. And I'm really, really annoyed at myself for the setup, but it's all my own. It's me trying to get overcomplicated with things, because on top of everything else that I've ever done, it just so happens that I spent a good portion of my college years interning in a media studio for like local TV. And because of that, even on the most simplistic thing, I get a little bit obsessive about production value. Which is why, despite the fact, hidden visible, we'll get there. Despite the fact that I don't do this professionally, I've gone overboard with the setup. I mean, the fact that this is a XLR microphone. My webcam isn't a webcam. It is a Panasonic Lumix camera on a mount with a ring light around it, and I basically just have a special adapter that plugs in where the battery would go, that convinces it that it's plugged in all the time and provides power. And so it's just a legit camera. Well, to be fair, with the exception of like the microphone and the with the exception of the microphone and the Go XLR, I didn't buy this stuff just for streaming. Like I bought the camera as a camera to do like photography and stuff. And I already had the parts for the secondary PC from a previous like computer upgrade. So I upgraded the microphone and I bought the Go XLR because I like to do funny stuff with audio. I don't think I'm currently set up to do it right now, but one of my personal favorites is to record clips and then spam them at people. I don't think this will work. Let me see. I don't think I have it set up. Oh, thank you for the follow, Chai. So, like, what's the one I've done that really annoys people? I think it's a Markiplier quote. You right. You right. You right. I don't know if I can't hear it. It's not set up where I can hear it. You right. If I hit this, it should be playing into the chat right now. Like into the stream. You right. The stream can hear it. Love bullying my husband into giving me links to cool people. Okay. I wondered, I was like, I didn't recognize the username. Still a small enough, creator that it's unusual for me to get like a follower out of nowhere. So I was like, I don't know that username from anywhere. I just worked on the video. Oh, okay. Well, I'm sorry you had to witness my footage, like the me part of it. It was so cool. What do you mean? I don't. We went over this earlier. I don't know if you were able to hear that part. I don't like seeing myself on camera or hearing myself speak. It actually makes it quite difficult for me to do my clips and stuff because I don't like watching myself. Sorry, YouTube, you're not to watch my face. I thought about that. I really did. Thing about it is so I'm kind of already out there a little bit. Like my persona is already tied into like my face, unfortunately for me. I would have had to create an entirely different online persona. Oh, I'll show something interesting here. Let me snooze this ad break that we're about to have in 2.5 minutes. Let's see here. Can I find it is the question. Probably can. Let's see. So what I'm working on stream is my indie game. It's going to be a horror game. It's called One Man's Poison. And it is something akin to like a Resident Evil, Silent Hill inspired game. In fact, there's a command for this. It'll talk about it as long as the bot's not broken. I think the bot's broken. Hang on a second. Come on, Streamlabs. Why are you broken? Every so often I gotta come in here and nope, that's not the thing. That's still the wrong thing. That's the thing. Activate, deactivate. Backwards, reverse it. One Man's Poison. There it goes. Yeah, so that's a quick synopsis. But, so an interesting side note, and actually, some of the people that regularly watch me may not even know this yet, because I don't talk about it super often. Hold on. Really poor timing there, Flux. Why are you coloring my screen? I don't need the eye saving right now. I don't need everything going yellow. So this is old. So the characters, it's not based on it necessarily, but the title and the characters actually come from a short film that I helped make in college. I have permission from the author or the director and like the writer of the story to use that stuff. And it was let me do this so that it can play on the thing. I'll play the trailer here. So it's a noir. The game won't be noir, but the movie was noir. The short film was noir.
Jake Dabrowski? I need your help to find something for me, Mr. Dabrowski.
He thought it was just a simple case.
This thing was made 11 years ago.
I want you to tell him that if he messes around with Elijah Wilson, it'll get him rubbed out quick.
Elijah Wilson wants you dead.
Tell me something I don't know.
He sent me to do it. But I have a plan.
I did the special effects on this movie for like gunshots.
Do you like what you do?
What's not to like?
Two mob bosses and only one can come out alive.
Those were unfinished because the final ones had flashes. But I did the special effects for that guy. The actual movie in its entirety, I mean, it's only like, it's only like 20 minutes long. You can watch it for free on YouTube. It might it doesn't technically spoil anything in the game because the plot's technically different. So you can watch it for free on YouTube. My favorite shot in the movie, without spoiling anything, because it's probably the one where the gun flash looks the best. Was that's probably, I don't have a good way to loop that. Yeah. So, and actually, funnily enough, so I did the special effects. I was on set for a number of things, but also I have, and bear in mind, again, this was 11 years ago on like a college budget. I'm actually in it. I have a cameo. I don't have any lines, but I am right there. And I looked directly at the camera because we didn't know. So they told us to make conversation, like we were in line for the movie, because this is shot outside a movie theater. And so we were making conversation. What they didn't tell us was they were shooting a take, and somebody said something, or there was motion or something, and I just reactively looked over at the camera, and it ended up in the final shot. Now, the good news is, because of how it was shot, it kind of looks like I'm just watching them walk down the street, which isn't that unusual. But I'm actually, I have a little cameo in it, but I did the special effects on this. Let's see. There I am, visual effects supervisor. That's me. So the characters and some loose plot points and because this was actually originally going to be a much longer thing. Originally, it was going to be an animated thing. I was supposed to help him animate it. Because I was taking animation classes at the time, 3D animation specifically. But I eventually was like, no, this is not this is too big a production for one animator. We would be making this thing for 5 years. But so we did it as live action, and it was trimmed down. So there's some unused stuff that I'm kind of referencing, and there's some character names, and it's also taking place in a more modern time period because it gives me a little more leeway. And it's also not really, meant to be scary as a movie, whereas I'm turning it more into like a Silent Hill, Resident Evil kind of thing. Yeah. You also can go to ompgame.com. I have a website for it. It has an age gate on it just because, while the game's not rated, it very likely would be a mature rated game. So there's not much on here, but I will post like developer updates outside of stream and stuff, because I work on it on stream, but I also work on it off stream. So and then we're going to pause for ads. I will. I see your message, Ty, but I'm assuming you're in ads, so I will reply when we come back from ads. Put the music back on. All right, we are back from ads. So yeah, so for those of you that were in ads and are new, which may just be Chai and Bella, but we pause for ads. I generally, if possible, some games don't let me do that, but usually during other types of streams and more calm things, we pause for ads. So if anything, I just talk with subs or whoever's not in an ad break, and then we deal with other stuff when we come back. So yeah, that was supposed to be hydrate. Well, I'm gonna drink soda because I have soda left over, and then I will drink some water because I just finished that off. So yeah, so we usually pause for ads. I don't want people to feel like they're missing anything just because they're not subbed. Yeah, so if you were interested in things like the mouse pad, that if you were to click on them on that website, it brings you here. So I have a website with a bunch of different stuff on it. Including, oh, nope, I'm not wearing one of them today. Oh no, I'm not wearing my own stuff. So I haven't ordered all of my own products just yet, but I can confirm that the t-shirts in particular, because we have ordered some of those, my wife and I have some, the t-shirts and the, so I can't speak to the quality of the mouse pad. I haven't ordered one. It is, probably your standard screen printing stuff, to be honest. The t-shirts, however, are quite soft. This isn't one of them, but they are quite soft. They do, in my experience, run a little small. I'm kind of a big guy, so I would personally size up if you like a looser fit. But I have ordered both of these guys, and I like the fit of the t-shirts. I like the material. And then my wife is a big fan of the, where is it? Of the crop top. So we have it in a crop top variant. So, but yeah, so I have all kinds of stuff. In fact, this is a recently launched website. So, yeah, I just to be transparent, I haven't ordered all the products. I can't speak to the quality of the mouse pad, so I personally am not using one. I actually, not to shill something for somebody else, but I'm not good at shilling my own stuff usually anyway. I actually use a desk pad from LTT. Where is it here? Desk pad. Because you can get a huge one for like the same price as a small one. Like they charge the same price no matter how big it is. You can even do this and like configure the size of it. So like I have one that takes up a huge portion of my desk. It's not that big, but I have one that takes up a huge portion of my desk. This is actually the one that I use. I suspect mine's not nearly as high quality as that. Because they don't just screen print their stuff, they make all their own stuff. But in general, if you want to keep up with stuff that's going on here, we do have Discord. I'm sure Bella mentioned that I was encouraging people to get into creating things. That also, whether that be game development or whatever else. And of course, my intro video mentions it. And that's kind of where I do that. I have resources there for people who want to learn that kind of stuff. Eventually, once there's kind of more people, because I'm not necessarily an expert in, other topics. I'm not even an expert in the ones that I kind of help with. But I'd like to open up ones for like people to help people get into, say, art or music or whatever the case may be. We just don't really have the audience for it right now. It would be just as silent as the other ones tend to be. I'd say the most active thing we've been doing in the community has been playing Dune Awakening. We have a private server for Dune Awakening, and we've been semi-active with that, although a couple people have kind of, I think, tired themselves out on it. So if you like Dune Awakening, there's a private server in there. Set the members in. Set members input action key mapping. This guy. No, get out of there. I don't want it in there. Get out of that. And then compile, save. Yeah, I know. I didn't put the thing in there yet. You're fine. We need to do primary key, get break. What? Break? Hang on a second. Did I do that wrong? This is what I wanted. Primary key bind. Break. And I want key to go in here. And then I want what? Hide unconnected pins. Here we go. This is what I was looking for. Action name. Take our not that. We want mapping name. No, gimme. Okay. And we need to do this again for our secondary. And we can actually use the same value for that because that doesn't change. we do need to get our input key primary to set up our default key. And we're going to get this from our primary keybind. We need to break this. And then we're going to break this. And that actually gets our... From here, get the display name. Interesting. That is the same description. Well, that's for auto. That's from a plugin, so Lord knows what that thing would do. Boop. Nope, don't drag off that end. Drag off the other end. Okay, and so this, boop, over here, boop, and that's going to be part of the show default keys. We'll do that again for the secondary side as well. You got a stretch redeem. Oh, you have returned? I did not. Did you say you were gone? I guess not. I didn't notice. Sorry. I was in the zone. Oh, yep. Absolutely. I'm sure you have stuff to do. Oh, no. Absolutely. No. Go do what you got to do. You don't have responsibility to notify me of leaving chat. I just was thinking maybe I missed your message where you said that you had left. Thank you. Thank you for the follow. Thank you for the hard work. You have a good rest of your evening or day, whatever. I think we're in the same time zone based on Vigen, so rest of your evening. We're probably going to wrap up here shortly. Yeah, Eastern. Yep, that's my operating time. All right, bye. And yeah, I think on that note, it is almost 10:30 at night. Who can we raid? I don't see any users I outright recognize being live. So instead, I've had music playing this whole time, and I did not realize I didn't have it playing through the stream. That has probably been dead quiet And I apologize for that. So we're going to raid Pleasantly Twisted. They're playing Dark Souls. I will be live again on Thursday. So have a good evening. Oop. Hang on a second. I did not know that they had cancel. Did I send them? I didn't send the raid, did I? I didn't know they had follower or sub-only chat on. I don't want to do that. I'm not raiding someone that has that on. I'm not going to force people to sub or follow to hang out. So instead, we'll just do a raid on Chill Stream. You can hang out with some ferrets for the evening.